It's time to go beyond. Hello and welcome everyone to Go Beyond, a My Hero Academia podcast. Each week we run you through the plot, differences between the manga and the anime, fan theories, and often some critical analysis of each and every episode of My Hero. This week we will be covering episode number 29, titled Hero Killer, Stain vs. UA Students. But before we get into that, I would like to introduce myself, Von Hyde, alongside the amazing Mr. Chris Penwell. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I did a deku this week and I pushed too much with my arms. So yeah, they're out of commission and I haven't been able to work out for 2 days. But other than that, I am good.
I don't know why that sounded so weird to me, where you're like, I pushed a little bit too much with my arms. I'm like, what are you doing, dude?
I did too many fucking bicep curls. That's what happened.
Oh, okay.
I tried to go
jacked.
beyond with my exercise and yeah, I regret it now. Because I'm walking like a robot.
Yeah, a little bit too swole right now, and you're just like, nah, bro, my muscles are just too big. They can't be contained by my skin suit. I get it. It's totally fine. I mean, I never feel like that because I'm a pudgy little piece of shit, but like, hey, congratulations. Can you hold up your phone, though? Like, that's the big test, is like the lightest thing ever. Just like hold it up. You don't accidentally drop it in the toilet.
I can hold up the phone, but if I hold up a laptop or something, I can feel it for sure.
Okay, all right. I mean, that sucks. It sucks for you, but
yeah,
I guess whatever. If you were on the toilet and you're just like dumping out and you dropped your phone in the toilet, what would you do?
I'd freak out. I've done that twice, so...
You've actually done that? Like you've dropped your phone in the toilet while you were on the toilet?
Well, not while I'm on the toilet, no. Like,
okay,
after
well, no,
flushing.
I mean like... Oh, okay, well, after flushing is a different thing entirely. I'm talking about like pre-flush. You drop your phone in the toilet. Is it just dead to you?
I just sterilize it to fuck.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What if it was just number one? It's basically already sterile.
Oh, I don't know.
That's actually a myth, by the way, I'm pretty sure.
I think that's a myth.
It's not sterile. It's not.
No, it's not.
But this is not about pee-pee. It's about My Hero Academia.
Oh,
so, like I said, this week we're talking about episode number 29, Hero Killer, Stain versus Stain versus UA Students. Jesus Christ, I can barely talk today. So, Chris, what were your brief opinions on this episode?
Yeah, intense episode. Loved it. I do, before we move on, actually, I do want to give a shout out to the actors, Justin Briner, who voices Deku, J. Michael Tatum, who voices Ida, and David Matranga, who voices Todoroki. I think they have done an incredible job, especially during this season. They delivered those emotional kind of lines excellently, and it just gives you that emotional punch that the series needs. And honestly, I think they give incredible performances throughout the show, and it's worthy of what they do in the show, as well as the rest of the dub cast. It's worth watching. It really is. Like, if you're a guy like says, "Oh, I want to stick to the sub," you really should check out the dub.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the dub. I mean, I'm honestly surprised that you didn't give a quick shout out to Stain specifically for going meh so many times. So that's honestly surprising to me, because I felt like that was top tier acting. It was just fucking chef's kiss. It was great.
But yeah, lots of great action. I love how Ida's character's regressing, I guess, in a way. And
yeah,
like it questions. Fallen. It questions like the idea of like what is a hero, you know? So yeah, I love it.
Something that I find kind of interesting is that like Stain never says he finds Todoroki to be a hero. Like we'll get through this in like the next week's episode too, because that's when it kind of concludes the Stain arc. But there's there's a second where, of course, in this episode, like we're going to cover, he basically comes to the conclusion that Midoriya is worth not killing. He is a true hero. But Todoroki, he does not come to that. He doesn't. He's not just like, oh yeah, dude, this fucking kid is also a true hero. Instead, he just like tries to fucking kill him.
You think it's because he's the son of Endeavor? Like, it's pretty well known that he's the son after the whole tournament, right?
I mean, you'd guess that that people would know, but I mean, Stain kind of keeps in the shadows, so I don't know if he would follow the UA Sports Festival.
He has very similar quirks, though. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, there's lots of people who have fire quirks. Like, Midoriya's dad has a fire quirk.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like, random shit can happen. It's kind of interesting. I don't think it's necessarily his association with anybody. I don't know why it is. It might be because Todoroki doesn't express, like, hardcore resolve and beliefs similar to, like, what Deku does in this. But I'm not 100% certain, but there are some, turns out Todoroki in this episode, in both the anime and the manga, has a, kind of like a third variation of his quirk, where knives just disappear. They're just gone, okay? It's really fucking annoying. This is like the headband thing all over again, but they don't just show up randomly. So Stain will eventually, like, when he throws the 3 knives and beams Todoroki, which I don't know how he threw 3 at the same time. That shit was crazy. Bro's like Legolas shooting 3 arrows. That's just outrageous. But beams Todoroki in the arm with like 3 knives, and then like 2 seconds later, knives are gone. Never addresses the fact that there were these 3 knives in his arm again. And I'm like, bro, what the fuck just happened? But whatever. We'll talk about it when we get there. Of course, this covers pages 127 to the end of volume number 6 of the manga, which is written by Kohei Horikoshi and animated by Studio Bones. For me, this week, I very much enjoyed the episode. I liked it a lot, other than the knife thing that really fucking bothered me. I really do enjoy this episode, and I'm very excited to conclude the Stain arc, because I wanted to talk to you about, we were thinking about doing, initially I had planned on us doing like the movie reviews, when they actually come chronologically within the story, but nobody exactly knows when Heroes Rising is, and we both kind of decided that it would probably be better to do so with like all the hype going on. So I think once we actually, and I gotta pass this by you, but it would obviously just replace a normal episode, once we conclude the Stain arc, which is in the next, like, I believe 1 to 2 episodes, you want to do the My Hero Academia Heroes Rising review?
I'm totally down.
Okay, all right. And you haven't seen Heroes Rising, have you?
So I've watched the first one.
Yeah,
but
2
I haven't
Heroes.
watched the second one.
Yeah, Heroes Rising, as of recording this, just came out today, physically, which I'm super stoked for. I purchased my copy. I just bought the standard Blu-ray. I didn't go for the Best Buy route and get the steel case, because I was like, man, like I can't, like I gotta save some money, you know. Can't justify the extra $7. And then when I went to Walmart to purchase my Blu-ray, I almost bought the fig pin, and I was like, if I can't justify the extra $7, I can't do it with the 4 either. So I just bought the standard Blu-ray.
I'm gonna get the fig pin one just to boast.
Dude, that shit's fucking cool. The only thing I don't like about the fucking fig pin is that it's not actually a version of Deku that exists within the movie. It's Deku, it's basically like the Stain arc Deku costume. He doesn't have his Air Force gauntlets, and he doesn't have his Iron Souls, which really bothers me. Like, it's basically version 2 of his mom suit. It's not version like 3 or 3.5 kind of whatever. So that really bothers me, just because it's coming out with the release of a movie and it's supposed to be an exclusive fig pin. It's like, I've seen that fig pin before. It exists. So I don't know what you're fucking talking about. Yeah, but the steel case by Best Buy is really fucking cool. I definitely would have bought it if I wasn't like, I'd probably save some money and just bought like a $30 game or whatever. It's an early access. Doesn't really matter though, because this is about My Hero Academia. So let's hop into this plot summary so we can get into the nitty gritty of this episode. So Ida's fight with Stain is looking bleak, yet just before his life had come to an end, Midoriya and Todoroki enter the fray. But can the two of them hold off the hero killer until the pros arrive? And what exactly makes Stain so powerful? Find out in episode number 29, Hero Killer, Stain versus UA Students. I also really like the naming convention of this specific episode, because it's not like Hero Killer Stain versus UA Students, it's Hero Killer Stain versus UA Students. I think that's actually kind of cool that, like, it's not, it's kind of just like a weird thing that I enjoy. But yeah, I'm super stoked to get into this. So we start off with Deku in the bullet train. The police are like, oh my freaking god, this hero just got his dick beat in, and Deku's like, I gotta go, so chill for a second. And he hops out, and as he's running, this is something that I thought was really cool, and it actually doesn't exist in the manga, but it does in the anime, where Deku's like running and he begins to use full cowling while he's running. Yeah, which I think is especially cool because Deku shows how far he's grown in just a few days, where initially he didn't know if he could actually do anything while full cowling. Like, he didn't know if he could move, and he barely could move. And now he's like fucking jumping from building to building like the bunny he is, and he's just like running, jumping off buildings. It's some crazy shit going on. Okay,
I wouldn't say he's a Mary Sue though. You can tell that he's learning, that he's growing from his encounters. You know,
I'm gonna be 100%
honest,
I don't know what that term means.
You don't?
No, I've never heard.
Really?
I've only heard somebody say Mary Sue as, like, apparently it was derogatory.
So a Mary Sue is when... Oh, wow. I've just realised I'm actually teaching you something.
Yeah, I've never heard this term before.
Okay, so a Mary Sue is when a character is almighty and powerful without any prior experience or knowledge, you know, is just suddenly powerful, you know? Like Kirito, or, I don't know, in Star Wars terms, Rey, you know?
That's kind of interesting.
So that's a criticism that some people have with some shonen characters, I believe, where they don't learn much, and yet they're the most powerful in the class, you know?
Yeah, like the OP syndrome. Okay, that's kind of interesting. So you're saying Deku isn't necessarily that? Because, I mean, up until now, we've seen Deku actually try to master One for All. Yeah. I honestly don't think he was humanly capable of full cowling until recently. I don't think he could actually contain 5%.
He's been hurting himself like the last 2 seasons almost.
Yeah, and honestly, what's so crazy about that is it's only been I think it's only been a couple months, or like a month, maybe a little bit over that, in the actual world of My Hero Academia. The timeline is really weird, especially because I don't know how, like, school works in over in Japan, how exactly, like, their in and their outs are, because sometimes they'll go on, like, a summer vacation and others they won't.
They work over the summer, don't they? They go to school over the summer.
I honestly
and then have
no
a month
idea.
off. Like, I'm thinking like Persona. I'm trying to remind myself of what Persona was like, because that had a very I don't know, traditional kind of like school schedule, I guess. So they have Golden Week. That's in November or something like that. And then they have summer off and the winter off. I think that's it.
Okay. Well, that's kind of interesting. So I love when Deku's running, he's thinking about this new Nomu, and he's like, this one had a different body but the same sort of exposed brain. Maybe they're siblings. Anyway, I've got to find Gran Torino. I think that's mostly interesting because I've just been wondering something for a while. Shigaraki back in the USJ calls Nomu the bioengineered anti-symbol of peace, or something similar to that. And I'm wondering if Deku just didn't hear that he's bioengineered, or if this is kind of just like some sort of weird oversight, because he's like, I wonder if they're siblings, and it's like, he's fucking bioengineered, dude. No, they're not siblings. Like, in a sense, I guess every clone would be a sibling of another clone, but they're not that at all. So I don't really know. It's kind of weird.
I just realized as well that the symbol of peace kind of symbolizes like life, and the Nomu and one All for One, that resembles death in a way, and Nomu are technically zombies. They're super uber powerful zombies, but they are zombies.
I love that you got that.
Are you?
We could.
Should I have got that already?
No, I thought it was so funny that you're like, they're zombies.
Yeah.
It's just such an interesting thing. I mean, to
Is
be
that a
fair,
spoiler for the manga?
I was just about to say, to be fair, that is technically a spoiler.
Oh no!
But
You might want to
because people don't know. I don't know. It's whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as we don't reveal anymore. I think the fact that Nomu are actually just reanimated cadavers is completely fine.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Moving forward, we have Gran Torino fighting one of the Nomu, and this is like a gray Nomu, so it's like a normal Nomu, if you consider basically like the events of My Hero Academia Season 4. This is like a lower-powered Nomu. Even All For One in this episode says that they are not as powerful as the one he gave Shigaraki in the USJ, which kind of makes sense because that one was literally created to fight All Might, so it was meant to be very powerful. But Gran Torino shooting all over the place, similar to what he did with Deku. He's kicking this Nomu, and the Nomu's just like, I don't give a fuck about you. And he's like going after these random people. And I love that Gran Torino is basically like, hold on, like what the fuck? He's attacking indiscriminately. He's thinking that this is a real person, that it's acting of its own accord, which I find really interesting. Because he's never like run into a Nomu, so I totally get it. But like, it just shows that this kind of stuff is like a common occurrence in their society. Like, I mean, the body mutations, like exposed brains and having 4 eyes and shit. Like, that's crazy. If I came across one of those people, like even in a society where people have bird heads, if I saw some dude with an exposed brain, I'd be like, hold up, what? You got 4 eyes and an exposed brain? That shit's crazy. So I don't know. That it's just very odd to me that no one really pieces that shit together. But as he's going after these random people, we get a mass amount of fire just burning this Nomu to a crisp, and Gran Torino just happens to stop himself right before he also gets engulfed in this inferno.
Yeah, that's so irresponsible, Endeavor. What the fuck?
To like get this Nomu?
Could have burned bloody Gran Torino to a bloody crisp.
I mean, that sounds like Gran Torino's fault. You hop into a fire, bro. Like, I'm sorry. That's your bad. No, yeah, it's not great. Yeah, you'd have to assume, you'd kind of hope that he would know that Gran Torino wouldn't hit him just because he maybe saw what he could do in this fight, like 2 seconds before, and he's like, okay, he'll stop himself, kind of a thing. But I don't know. He also cuts it pretty close and, like, I swear to God, almost burns those civilians. Yeah. Like, this Nomu was uber close to those civilians. I don't know how he kept that hell flame so contained.
He seems like the kind of guy that would be chaotic good, you know?
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, on a D&D like morality scale, chaotic good, I imagine would get him there. You also kind of have to wonder, like, maybe he'd be like a chaotic neutral, because until the events of like season 4, for the most part, I know he is a hero, but he's not really in the hero mindset. He just becomes one for, I guess, his own purposes, and he like keeps moving forward because he just wants to be better than All Might. He's kind of like the exact kind of hero that Stain would hate.
Yeah, and there is something I want to ask you actually, and you know, it's a random question.
Oh, sweet.
Can a hero be a scumbag at the same time? You know, like, is that possible? I guess.
Yeah, I don't see. Are you talking about in My Hero Academia or just in general?
In My Hero Academia, I'd say, yeah. But
Yeah,
I guess
think
you
it's
can be
completely possible.
yeah, you can be so dedicated to your work that you forget other things in your life, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, Endeavor's a special kind of fucking asshole scumbag. Like, he abuses his children. It's widely thought that he might have, like, killed or basically, like, abandoned another with Toya Todoroki. So, like, the Endeavor's kind of just a straight up piece of shit. He gets cooler later on. I'll admit that. Like, Endeavor's got some great moments, especially when he, like, really becomes the next, I guess, symbol of peace, or at least pillar for society to lean on. But yeah, I think it's completely possible for a hero to be like a scumbag. Like, it's similar to the way that, like, have you watched Black Clover?
A little bit.
So the Wizard King, Julius Novachrono, Asa and Yuno ask him how they can become the Wizard King, and he basically boils it down to and says it's easy. All you have to do is get results. I think that is a very similar thing to heroics in My Hero Academia. No, I don't think you'd necessarily be what I would consider a true hero, and I don't think Stain would consider you to be one either. Kind of like basing, I guess, my kind of like scaffolding of what hero society should be off of, like, loosely off of Stain's. Kind of like people shouldn't be in it for just the profits. They should be in it to make the world a better place and to save individuals.
Yeah.
But a true hero, no, I think you cannot. A hero, yeah, I think you absolutely could. 1,000,000%. You could be a piece of shit and still be a great hero. As long as you get results, like, easily you could do so. Similar to, like, I think Bakugo, it's amazing he has the amount of character development that he does, but without it, I think it's perfectly possible that he would become an amazing hero. But since the hero billboard charts are based on, like, popularity among other things, I believe that he would not get up there very high.
But Endeavor doesn't need that. He's not very popular at all, and yet he's number 2.
Yeah, that's something that Hawks points out during the hero billboard charts, is that if it was purely based on popularity, then Best Jeanist would actually be number 1, but Endeavor is instead. So, like, that's what I'm saying. I think Endeavor gets enough results. Like, he's a good enough physical embodiment of a hero that he doesn't have to have the emotional and kind of, like, spiritual side of it, even though he gains that later on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it seems pretty acceptable for heroes to be pieces of shit.
And it's really shitty to put natural selection on your children like that. You know, it's kind of fucked up.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, Endeavor's a straight up piece of garbage. So, like I said, gets better, but he's still a straight up asshole. But you find out that Endeavor actually came here looking for the hero killer. And it elaborates a little bit on later in the episode, so we'll just move on basically how the episode itself did. So you have Midoriya just running through everything, trying to look for Ida, because there's so much commotion. He's still thinking about the Nomu and says, like, if it's absurdly powerful, like the one back in the USJ, then Gran Torino won't. Like, not just Gran Torino will be in trouble, but the entire city is in trouble. Luckily, none of these are, even though one of them might be, considering it's a black Nomu, so it should be a high-end Nomu. But I don't know if Horikoshi necessarily had that outlined at this point, but he does so later on. So Midoriya is worried about Ida, and at this very moment when he thinks finally about Ida within this rapidly degrading situation, he hears Manuel calling out for Tenya. He's like, "Oh, what's up, dude? Like, what's going on?" Pops out and sees the heroes just absolutely getting wrecked.
Yeah.
By the freaking by these two Nomu, which is kind of interesting. So I will say, I love the fandom stuff on this, where it's like, oh, the Fly specifically, his name is only uttered in the anime. Like, that was a piece of trivia, and that's not actually true. Like, it's said in the manga as well, I'm fairly certain. So I just wanted to call that out. I do think that's kind of weird. But that's where a new hero featured pops in. There's a new hero that we at least know the name of in this, called the Fly, who has wings coming out of his arms. I don't know what the fuck that means. I don't know what kind of quirk that is, but
I just laughing at the name.
Yeah, his name is the Fly.
It's so lame. It's like you couldn't think of anything creative. That's
100%. It's not cool. It's not cool.
It's
just like a racer head, dude. It just sucks.
I'd say it's even worse than a racer head.
Really? You think so?
Yeah, it's really bad. The Fly? Really?
Yeah, that's his name.
A
is the
small
Fly.
pipsqueak of a fucking bug that can be squished easy?
Yeah, basically.
That gives me confidence. Oh my god.
I mean, this guy straight up gets wrecked like 5 seconds later. So.
There might be a reason why he's called the Fly.
It kind of checks out.
He sucks. He sucks even more than Cameron Woods, not saying something.
You better watch out, dude. The Fly is a little piece of shit, but he'll come after you, okay? Especially for slandering Cameron Woods. So yeah, right here, I'm looking at it. They took down the Fly. Fuck you, fandom. It says right there his fucking name. It's not only in the anime, so eat my dick. But fucking so these two Nomu totally wrecking all of these heroes. I honestly, more than anything, want to know about these two like twin heroes that have like blue skin and goggles on. Like, they look cool. I want to know what their story is, because they're interesting. But then we basically get the heroes being like, hey yo, Midoriya, get out of here, like, this is a bad situation. Manuel's chilling over here putting out fires with, I guess, like a water main. I mean, honestly, in the manga, this fight is going way worse for the heroes than it is in the anime. Like how that bull hero that kind of looks like I guess like a minotaur / man kind of a thing. Like, he's more man than minotaur. How the black Nomu goes to hit him and he deflects it and he's like holding it and he's like, oh man, this guy's really strong. In the manga, totally facepalm, dude. That the freaking this high-end Nomu just has his face in 100% in his hand. He's gonna squash his ass. So this is going way worse for the heroes in the manga than it does in the anime.
I have a few comments about the scene. What's up? I thought it was cool that Deku knew Manuel, so he must be doing something well, even though he's the 222nd ranked hero. So that's really cool. And then, I was surprised by the hero death that occurred during this scene, where like there was a hero that got crushed by a bus and then it bloody exploded. That's a really bad way to go. That's a really bad way to go.
I'm gonna be honest, I don't think I noticed that. I gotta watch that shit again. If there's a hero death, I want to know.
There was a hero death. Yeah, he got crushed by a bus and then it just combusted.
I'm gonna have to watch this again, dude. I mean, if I needed a reason to watch this episode again, it's so dope. But I gotta watch this dude get squashed like the Fly. I'm pretty interested in this, okay?
And then Deku, after this scene, he starts to figure out, oh my god, Ida, he's out of the action. He's gone to the back corridor, and then he starts to suss out that, you know, this has a connection to Shigaraki and the League of Villains because of the Nomi, and Stain and him are connected.
The League of Villains thing I think is interesting, but it bothers me so much how long it takes Midoriya to get this Stain thing. Yeah, it annoys me so much. It's like, bro, his brother just got attacked in Hosu City. You saw that he got like 40 or so like possible like internships, and he chose Manuel's, which, like you said, he knows who Manuel is. So he knows that he's a low rank hero, so you'd assume he'd choose a higher one. So how does Manuel suss this shit out faster than Midoriya does?
Here's why. Because I think he has faith in his friend. I don't think he would go through with it. So I think that's what Deku was thinking at the time. But I thought Studio Bones did an incredible job at this part, where he's sussing out what's going on, and you can you can see like the fear in his eyes when he starts to figure out, oh my god, Ida's in really big trouble.
Oh yeah, I love the way it's animated. I just really I don't enjoy the fact that it takes Midoriya this long to figure it out. Like that, it just kind of bothers me that so many people can seemingly put the pieces together faster than our main character, who's also quite intelligent. So I don't really know. And he sees Ida firsthand. He knows exactly how he acts.
Yeah.
And he didn't notice, he notices that there's something wrong with Ida and doesn't piece it together earlier. I don't know. It just bothers me. But that's an aside. It still bothers me that Eraserhead didn't do anything about it, but I'll just get past that now. So, like you said, this is Midoriya slowly piecing it together. He says, Ida ran off somewhere. The always super serious Ida that's too weird in the middle of all this trouble. Hosu City, Nomu, or things that look like it. Ida, Hosu, Hero Killer. I love it. He's just like, Ida, Hosu. The way he pieces it together is so weird. You have to admit that.
Yeah, it's a little bit.
When he gets it down to Ida Hosu, I was like, really? Are you serious right now? And then he's like, Hero Killer? Yes, he is after the Hero Killer stain. Now we get to all the heroes freaking out because he just totally
He is a freaking
15-year-old,
by the way, so all 15-year-olds are kind of dumb at some point.
I mean, that's true. There are some... I was pretty fucking stupid as a 15-year-old. He understands shit that I will never understand, though. Just take Midoriya's, overall intelligence. He is an extremely smart person, and I feel like this should have taken, 5 seconds to work out in your head.
Yeah.
You'd be like, that's fairly obvious that this mofo is going to try to take down the Hero Killer.
But he did know that it would be away from the action. It would be further away. So he knew exactly where Ida would be, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Showcasing his intelligence. Why does it take him so long? But whatever. I guess the explanation of him thinking too highly of Ida, it kind of makes sense. I can kind of see that. Okay, so I believe you a little bit there. So moving on, now we see Shigaraki and Kurogiri sitting still on top of this water tower. They're all like, hell yeah, the Nomu's destroying shit. That's super cool. And Kurogiri asks Shigaraki if he's going to join in the fray. And I love that Shigaraki's like, no, I'm hurt, bro. Why are you trying to get me into this? I love it. He kind of he bitches out in this moment. He's like, did you not see the cut on my arm? Okay? I need to heal up. Chill.
I don't buy it.
Yeah, it's weird.
The reason why is because, he has this innermost desire to destroy everything, and he's seeing destruction ahead of him. You don't think he'd get off on that? You know?
I definitely think he'd get off on it. It is kind of weird. I honestly, I think until he has the moment at the end of the season with Midoriya in the mall, I don't think he actually has the resolve that he later gets in the series, where he believes it's his true purpose to destroy everything. That's why in later arcs, he goes through extreme amounts of pain and just keeps fighting. And I'm not going to get into those, obviously, because that's major spoiler territory, but...
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. But this moment is super weird. So I guess once again it shows character development and progression in another disparate character in this series. That right now freaking Shigaraki's got a cut on his shoulder and he's like, I'm out for the count. I can't decay anybody right now, even though I just got to touch him with my fucking hand. And later on he's like, I'm basically dead and I'll decay the world. So I think that's really awesome. But he's sitting there.
Yeah, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'll let you continue. My apologies. I just have a question for you.
No, go for it.
So, as we find out, he has this want to kill Stain, right? So he explains himself. So he says, "I really want to do it," you know, and then All for one.
All for one.
So I keep getting those mixed up, dude. I don't know why. I'll figure it out eventually.
It's hard,
but
I'll admit it's kind of annoying.
And then all for one, he's like, sure, you go ahead, but remember you have 3 to destroy. So what does that mean exactly? Like, who are these? Like, what's this rule? Like, why does he only have 3 to destroy? Why is he limited to that many people?
Oh, I think you're misunderstanding the way that that's said. He's talking about the number of Nomu he'll give him.
Oh.
Yeah, because he has 6 completed, but he'll only give him 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's what he's talking about.
You can skip that part if you want in the editing.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, that is an interesting question. Is that no, he is talking about the amount of Nomu that he'll give him currently because he only has 6 of them that are fully operational.
Gotcha.
So that's why he only gives them 3 because he thinks they're going to get fucked up. Okay. Essentially, like he's saving some for later. So I see how you could get there. Speaking of that moment, we have Shigaraki back in the bar before he actually teleports to Hosu, and he asks All for One how many Nomu are ready. All for One says none on the level who attacked attacked UA with you, but 6 are fully operational at this point. And Shigaraki says send them my way, and All for One is like, why? Like, why do you need them right now, bro? And I love that Shigaraki's like, because I don't like that hero killer and I'm allowed to crush whatever I don't like, right? And All for One's like, you got it, dude, but you can only have 3. He says you can only have 3 and use this as an opportunity to learn something. That's what he says. So he's only allowing him to take 3 Nomu because they are a commodity. It's not like he can just make excessive amounts of them. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to say that that's true or not true, but like it's definitely they aren't easy to come by. I'll say that much. So Shigaraki continues. He's all laughing. He's like, haha, everybody's gonna forget about the hero killer tomorrow, even though we all know they ain't going to, okay? And now we move back to Tenya versus Stain. Tenya tries to kick the hero killer. Stain jumps up because he's faster than fucking jet legs, bro. I don't understand how he's this fast, but that's crazy. And he jumps up, and in midair, he grabs on to Ida's shoulders and kicks him in the shoulder with a spiked boot. Oof. That shit would hurt so bad.
It would, yeah. Ugh.
Oh my god. Tenya gets so fucked up in this. I feel so bad for him.
I think he's the first UA student to really get injured like this in the series. So, oh wait, no, I'm probably wrong. Probably USJ, there was a situation like that, wasn't there?
I don't know. I don't think anyone in the USJ actually got hurt.
Right.
Like, I mean, technically Midoriya is the only one who's gotten hurt, and it's much worse than everybody else. Yeah. But he's hurting himself.
But he wasn't bleeding, or he wasn't injured by a knife or something, you know, it's pretty brutal. Which leads to the thought of, like, you know, don't show this to your kids. Maybe teenagers. You know?
Oh, dude, I don't know. I would be fine with it.
You think?
Like, I'd be like, it's juice. I'll pull the fucking, like, yeah, I'll be like, he's a juice box. I'll pull what is it? Mortal Kombat, Nintendo, like, early 90s, 80s, whatever. Be like, just make it green, I guess. I don't know.
But I have a theory about Stain, actually. Like, his tongue is, like, lopsided. It's really long, right? So what if he has, like, a reptilian kind of like skin or like reptilian kind of like frame, so that might explain why he's so fast, you know? I don't know.
That is kind of interesting. I like that. That's definitely interesting, like kind of melding together the like evolution side of everything. I mostly think that he has the like super long tongue. He doesn't have a forked tongue like a lot of reptiles, right. But he has the super long tongue. We talked about this, I believe, in last episode, that I enjoy that because it actually showcases evolution in his character, that his quirk is blood curdle, so he'd have to be able to lick blood, and his tongue is excessively long and has very large taste buds. So I think that's kind of interesting that you point that out. I hope one day we actually get to see the origin of quirks in My Hero Academia. Like, I wonder if they were just a random phenomenon of evolution or if something else happened. I don't know. We'll see. But the hero killer stabs Ida in the arm with this and then kicks him in the fucking head. He just boots his head into the ground, like stepping on him, and then stabs him in the other arm. Holy crap. Ida's getting effed up. And here, the hero killer basically says, both of you and your brother are weak. That's because you're posers. He's basically just saying that they're not real heroes. And I love that Ida's still going on, dude. He just got stabbed twice and kicked in the head. And he's like, shut up, evildoer. Which I think is just so funny that he calls him an evildoer. He's still like pulling a Tenya, where it's just super weird. And this is a pretty emotional moment where he's like, the damage you did to his spinal cord means he's probably going to be crippled for the rest of his life. He'll never be a hero again. My brother, he saves so many people. He's a leader. He's a great hero. And he thinks back to times when, like Tenya does, he thinks back to the time when he was a child and how amazing Tensei was. And he basically tells Stain that he had no good reason to have, there's no good reason you could possibly have for crippling him. And he thinks back to that moment where Tensei, Ida, Tensei, and their father seemingly were eating, and Tensei's talking about how him having so many sidekicks and going independent at such a young age is not actually indicative of his own talent, but the talent of those around him. And because of that, it pushes him forward. So I would honestly say I think Stain's ideology is flawed because he assumes that all heroes are like not actually like they are just taking advantage of situations and they're not true heroes.
He's generalizing,
Yeah, he's absolutely doing that. He's generalizing, and I don't see any reason why Tensei would be considered not a true hero. Like, he goes after Stain, but he does so because he's a hero, because Stain is hurting people. He's not doing it for the money or for the fame or anything like that.
But doing it for revenge is definitely something that isn't heroic.
Oh, no, Ida, is definitely on the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
So, but Tensei specifically, I think that's weird. And Native, when he says that he'll kill the hero killer, I'm like, okay, I get why you'd be pretty chill with like wanting to kill him, even though that's only in the anime. He doesn't actually say that in the manga, but yeah, it's pretty weird. So this is when Ida's freaking out. He's like, he was my hero. He's a great hero who inspired my dreams. He's like weeping on the ground. And this is when Ida finally says that he'll kill him for what he did. And I love that, like, Stain's like,
okay, you're dead.
Aren't you supposed to save him?
Yeah.
Like, he's like, save him first, and points at Native. And Native is just sitting there, paralyzed. And Stain says, forget about yourself for a second and try saving others. Don't wield your power for your own sake. See, I'm still not understanding why that, like, how his weird ideology applies to Tensei. Maybe there's an additional point, like maybe he didn't just kill, paralyze Tensei. He didn't let him live just so that he can spread the word, but also because he thought, in a sense, he was a hero, like he deserved to live. I don't really know. Maybe, I don't know, Tensei's a closeted perv. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, we didn't actually get to see that fight between Stain and Tensei, so I wish we did, but
I do have a question for you though. So if Shigaraki pulls Voldemort and kills All Might, like Dumbledore in the Harry Potter series, do you think Deku reacts like this, like Ida, or even worse?
That's an interesting question. So, one, there is a theory right now that Stain will actually kill All Might. Whoa. Not Shigaraki. Because at a point, like, this isn't necessarily a spoiler because nobody knows what's happening with it. But currently in the manga, All Might is supposed to be at Tartarus Prison doing an interview with Stain. So people are thinking that because of some stuff that's happening, just all around Hero Society at that point in the manga, that Stain will actually get free and kill All Might. But it's also kind of weird because Stain, like, he doesn't kill Midoriya because he thinks he should age into being a hero. He's kind of like, he's kind of like Hisoka in Hunter x Hunter, how he doesn't want to kill Gon until he's like a prime candidate. Like, obviously it's for different reasons, but it seems like Stain is pulling that with Midoriya, whereas I wonder if Stain would actually take joy or even want to kill All Might in his weakened state currently, because he doesn't actually seem to want to kill Midoriya, at least, and he doesn't even say that he's the only one who can kill All Might. Stain instead says All Might is the only one who has the right to kill him or to beat him. So I don't think he'll kill All Might. But to answer your question, do I think that Deku will react this way if Shigaraki kills All Might? Yes.
Yeah.
So also, without necessarily spoiling things, there is a steady progression of Deku getting more and more feral in the manga as you go forward, and like his anger at times getting ahead of him, and it's pretty fucking crazy. I'm just gonna leave it there. No. But I absolutely think it's possible for Deku to kill Shigaraki or Stain if they killed All Might.
I feel like there's going to be a point where he stops himself at the end. Like, he's so close to killing him and then stops himself. That's what I'm thinking. But
I could see that. Do you think Deku killing somebody inadvertently or not would make him no longer this like true hero candidate?
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, you think that would kind of like, I guess that would kind of like, pardon the pun, but stain his image as a hero?
I guess, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Stain goes on and says, because getting trapped by your own hate and acting out of pure self-interest, making you the furthest from a hero. He's basically telling Ida that he's a little piece of shit, and he's like, that's why I'm gonna kill you. And he licks his blade, which then causes Ida to be paralyzed, which we later find out that's because of his quirk Blood Curdle. And he says, consider yourself a humble offering to the betterment of society. And Ida's still going on, dude. Yeah, he's like, I don't even care that I'm about to die. I am sad because I didn't get the chance to kill you, basically. And he's like, shut up. And he thinks about Tensei, basically saying like, you look up to me that much, Tenya. Guess that makes me a great hero or something. And Tenya says, it doesn't matter what you say now. You're still the criminal who hurt my brother. And then, out of just the corner, just randomly, Stain looks up to catch Midoriya shooting across buildings like a motherfucking G and punches the shit out of Stain. And it is dope as hell.
It really is.
Which causes Stain to like fly back a little bit, which I love that there is that much force in that punch.
What I love is like, we don't even see Deku in the first shot, I guess. We just see like flickers of lightning, and that's so fucking cool as he like emerges it, you know. So
yeah, just flickers of green lightning going from one side to the other to the other to the other, and then it's Deku and he just comes out and punches the shit out of him.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It's awesome. I love folk howling and the green lightning. I love it so much. It's so awesome. And I really also love the kind of like bunny-esque aesthetic of Deku.
I never even
think
thought
it's really
that.
cool.
That's cool.
Really?
Yeah.
You've never thought about that?
No, I never like.
There's
the
like
whole
this big
thing.
meme
Yeah, okay.
about people replacing Deku with a bunny. Like it's.
I've never even seen this meme.
Really? That's kind of crazy. Yeah, how he has the like little ears that's meant to mimic All Might's like hair, but it looks like bunny ears, and the fact that he hops around everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like a bunny theme. That's why I think it would be so cool for Mirako to actually train Deku, because Deku could learn so much from her. It's crazy. Like, they have super similar fighting styles.
Who is Mirako?
So, she's, I believe, she's the number 4 hero, I think. Mirako, My Hero Academia. Let me look. She's the bunny hero. Oh, I clicked on the wrong link. I know that sounded like I accidentally clicked on like My Hero Academia porn, but I promise you I did not. Just for some reason,
bunny girls, what the fuck?
no, I was trying to click on the fandom thing.
We know what you saw, Vaughn, and that's okay. You can reveal that. Like,
I freaking wish I accidentally clicked on some Mirako porn, dude. She's super hot. She's the number 5 hero. She's the rabbit hero Mirako. Her quirk is, and we actually don't find her out or we don't see her until season 4 of the anime, but her quirk is rabbit, which Rami's, which is Mirako, that's her name. Her quirk gives her the abilities, the attributes and abilities of a rabbit. This grants her incredible leg strength, allowing her to jump and kick with extreme force. She can even destroy large chunks of the ground by thumping her feet. She also has excellent hearing thanks to her rabbit-like ears, and possesses animal instincts that alert her to nearby danger, which is kind of cool because it's like a spidey sense. Sick. But she's dope as shit, and I honestly think that she would be an amazing teacher to Deku, like especially with his shoot style and her fighting style that we later on see during the war arc. It's just fucking, it's awesome.
The thing is, you have me worried now. I need to read the last 30 chapters of the manga so far.
Why do I have you worried?
Because I don't
the Deku's ferocity thing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, everybody, read the manga. Shit's great. Easiest way to do so is to get the Viz Media app or the Shonen Jump app. It's like $3 a month.
Not even that.
It's freaking fantastic. Yeah, I think it's $2.99. Or no, it's $1.99. It's $1.99, I believe. Yeah, and you can read them on your phone, on a tablet, on the computer. You can read them on anything. I believe you only have access to a certain amount of chapters a month, so it all just depends on how avid of a reader you are. But at some point, I believe the most recent 3 and the first 3, it's either 3 or 4 chapters are actually free. So once you get in that range, you no longer actually have to pay for it. You can just read week to week without paying for it. I buy the manga when they come out as like kind of like subsidizing, like I want to give Horikoshi, Viz, and like everybody who's included with My Hero Academia a little bit more money. But yeah, I would definitely recommend getting the Viz Media app or the Shonen Jump. It's very good. It's awesome. Includes a lot of different manga.
Vigilantes as well.
Yeah, it does include Vigilantes. So then Ida's like, holy shit, Midoriya came. And the first thing that Midoriya says is, I'm here to save you, Ida, which just shows like the difference in heroes, like how far along they are as heroes, where Ida's like, I'm gonna kill you, hero killer. That's what I'm here for. I don't give a shit about that guy who's dying. And Midoriya shows up and he's like, I'm here to save you, Ida. And a little kind of like interesting like interstitial bit of trivia, there's actually in the manga there is a section, like an interstitial page, where like Horikoshi says it's time for a popularity poll, and has this kind of like interesting thing where there's a like an entire sprawling page of the class 1A characters, and each one of them is actually wearing, not each one of them, some of them are actually wearing different stuff, but most of them are wearing the same attire that they do in My Hero Academia 2 Heroes. So those who are actually featured, like Bakugo, Kirishima, Ida's wearing something similar, Todoroki, Midoriya is actually wearing, including the gauntlet, which is kind of crazy. Like it's all there.
Wow.
So that's just kind of an interesting little bit of like interstitial stuff that happens in the manga. Several of them are different, like Uraraka, her clothes are actually different. So are Momo's, and I believe Jiro's are actually different as well. Her dress might be the same, but she wears a leather jacket in 2 Heroes. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out because I thought it was really cool, and I just randomly noticed it while I was reading through. But now we move back to Deku actually thinking about all of this, and he's running toward the hero killer and Ida, basically going about saying like, I might be overthinking this, but it's not like I have any proof, but that's exactly why I've got to take action here. In the same city where the hero killer appeared, we've got some Nomu lookalikes rampaging around. I may be the only one in the whole city uneasy about the potential connection. The League of Villains and the hero killer, could they be working together? And that probably means the hero killer is somewhere around here right now. The fact that Ida wasn't dealing with the main incident, could it be he's found the hero killer? And now we move back to the moment when Midoriya punches the hero killer, and he's like, boom, got it. I was right. I'm a smarty boy, even though I couldn't figure it out earlier. And he lands, and I'm trying to like get my bearings here. This kid. Oh, okay. So Stain realizes that this is like Midoriya is the one from Shigaraki's picture, and this is where Midoriya breaks it down a little bit more, where he says, it was on TV how 60% of the hero killer's victims were discovered around blind corners in deserted areas. So I've been scouring the back alleys near the normal hero agency close to the center of all the trouble, looking for you. And he gains full cowling again and asks Tenya if he can move, and he tells him to make his way for the main road to get like help. And I love that Tenya's like, I can't. Part of his quirk, like after he cut me, I couldn't move anymore. And then Midoriya notices that Native is also there. And this moment is kind of like harrowing, because he's like, if it was just Ida and I, we have a good chance of getting away. But with another person here, there's absolutely no way I can do so. So Midoriya, with his quick thinking, while like Stain is kind of monologuing, saying that like a friend shows up and says, I'm here to save you, a good line for sure, but it's my duty to kill these two, and if we're forced to fight them naturally, the weaker of us will be cold. So what now? And Midoriya thinks back to like idealistic criminals have a different sort of fire in their eyes. He's thinking back to like All Might saying that during the USJ. And this is kind of weird to me. And this is a difference between the anime and the manga, is that in the manga, Midoriya says that Stain isn't like the heroes in the USJ because he has the eyes of a killer, whereas in the anime, he says those are the eyes of a fanatic. I think for obvious reasons, I like the anime more because, you know, several of the people in the USJ had fucking killed people. So, just saying, like, yeah. Checks out. And they're also there to kill somebody. Like, that was the entire idea of being there. So I think it's kind of weird. It's like, that guy's got the eyes of a killer. No fucking shit. They all did. I don't know what you mean by that. But I like it a lot more, like, the fanatic side of it. Also, I just gotta point out that Stain sometimes looks like a Ninja Turtle, and I think that's kind of cool. Just... I'll put the panel up on the Go Beyond Twitter, but there's definitely some times where he looks like a creepy Ninja Turtle, and I'm definitely here for it.
Could be influenced by Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Could be.
I would be surprised if he wasn't, honestly, because he has like the headband and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I could definitely see him being like, his design being at least somewhat inspired by the Ninja Turtles, and he has those gigantic teeth. Like, he's one of the few people how you can see his teeth individually, and they're big.
Yeah.
I mean, you can also see Kirishima's, but his are really pointy, and that kind of freaks me out sometimes, even though I love him. So this is when Midoriya acts quickly. He sends his location in a group chat to all of the different Class 1A students. He doesn't just send it to Todoroki, he sends it to everyone.
Shit.
And... this is why somebody actually says something about it later on, I believe, in the anime, because Todoroki doesn't say it immediately when he shows up, but in the manga he actually does. And Deku thinks he's got to buy some time, and possibly he'll have to like fend off the hero killer by himself. Ida's like begging him basically to run, that this is none of his business. And I love that Deku's like, what's a hero supposed to do when you say crap like that? I've got a lot to say to you, but that'll have to come later, because
I like that.
It's like All Might said, giving help that's not asked for is what makes a true hero. Yeah, I like that too. I like it a lot.
I just thought of a funny thought. Sorry to break up the...
Go for it, dude.
Can you imagine if, like, instead of Todoroki, it was like, hey, it's me, banana, grape juice, right here.
If fucking Mineta of all people showed up.
And they'd be dead.
You think so? You don't think Mineta could help?
I guess he could. He could stick him to the ground and then that's it. That's pretty much staying done.
I think almost any of the class 1A students could show up and it would actually help Midoriya's case. The only one I think that might not is Hokagure, and that's mostly just because I feel like her quirk is obviously meant for stealth.
Yeah.
And it seems like Stain has like heightened senses and battle awareness, so I feel like he would notice her a lot easier. He would notice her a lot faster than most people would. So I think she might be the only one who wouldn't help a massive amount, but she could definitely help, especially when she learns her ultimate move, the like light reflect. She could 100% help in this situation, but she doesn't know it yet. So yeah, if fucking grape juice showed up, that'd be so hilarious.
I want a one shot of that. I just want to see what would happen.
Also, I gotta ask you a question, if you kind of feel like this too. After Midoriya says this, we have a brief moment where Stain is smiling like a freaking psychopath.
Yeah.
He's like stoked that Midoriya just said that. Does it almost seem like Stain is enjoying himself when he's fighting Midoriya?
That's definitely in a Hisoka kind of way, yes.
Yeah, like I don't even know if it is necessarily a Hisoka kind of way, because Hisoka enjoys the act of fighting.
Yeah.
Stain in this moment seems to be super giddy that he found another true hero.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's kind of testing Midoriya's mettle, and I wrote in here, Stain seems almost happy to fight Midoriya. Maybe it's because he views him as one of the few true heroes. I honestly think that's why he's so excited.
Yeah.
That he's not excited that he has to fight him. Or that he gets the chance to fight him. He's just excited that he exists.
I guess that's the reason why I don't think Deku's gonna go all the way to Ida's
and kill someone.
Yeah, I don't think so, because he's the number one hero. What we find out like early on, right?
All Might was the number one hero, and it was thought that at least by him he killed All For One.
Right, but like I guess that would be in like a Superman way where he had to kill someone in order to save someone else. You know, there was no other choice.
Yeah, you don't think he'd kill somebody out of revenge?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be tied back to All Might that he possibly killed or thought he killed All For One out of revenge for Nanashimura's death. But yeah, I see what you're getting at. So Midoriya charges Stain, of course, using full cowling, and he shoots past him. I love that Stain's like, he's trying to get close so I can't get him with my long blade. That's good judgment. And grabs one of the knives out of his like left side and swipes with both of them as Deku shoots through his legs. And Deku's like, super quick. He does this in a really awesome way where Stain goes to swipe at him and Deku's already in the air, and he punches Stain in the top of the head with a 5% Detroit smash, and it's so awesome. And I love that in this moment Tenya's like, those movements, it's just like Bakugo's, and Midoriya is just super stoked. He's super excited because he says, it worked, my full cowling, I can really fight. Like, he's stoked that he can put up a fight at all.
And yet he wasn't knocked out at all by two punches like that. I think that's what I'm trying to figure out, like, why is Stain so resilient against these attacks? Because he seems like
I honestly think I think it's because he has such conviction. Yeah. Because, like I said earlier, after Shigaraki gains this sort of conviction after his conversation with Midoriya, he pushes past all of his limits. Midoriya does the same when he fights Muscular. And even further on, he does it multiple times. So I think it's just like his convictions and his need to like move forward with what he's doing to better hero society, to be kind of like an anti-hero in a way versus actually being a villain. I think that's why he can survive. It's the same thing where like at the end of next episode, he should be knocked out, and he actually does get knocked out because one of his broken ribs actually pierces his lung.
Nice.
And he still goes and kills a fucking Nomu. Like, that shit's crazy. And he does so to save Deku, which is really awesome. But so Deku is sitting there, he's kind of like congratulating himself, but then boom, Stain licks his blade. Just that tiny bit of blood where he grazed Deku was enough to actually get him. And in the manga, it's way less. It's literally like a drop of blood. It's nothing. And even when it shows where Stain cut Midoriya, it's literally like nothing. It's the smallest thing. They make a much bigger deal about it in the anime. But as he froze him, Stain starts to make his move toward Ida. He's about to stab him, like either in the spine or in the fucking head. Like he's ready to murk this little kid. And just about when he does so, a massive amount of fire shoots past him. Dude, Todoroki can't control his flames. I don't know how he didn't just burn Ida to a crisp. I'm gonna be straight up.
You don't think he can control it?
Well, he can't do it very well. He's said as much. And that's why he trains with Endeavor, is because he doesn't know how to use his fire quirk
So you
well.
think he actually learned it that quickly, just like Deku in a way? Because
no, I think he can use it like a small amount. He just doesn't know how to use it very well, kind of a thing.
Right.
Like I'm not saying that he shouldn't be able to fire it. It's just a little bit crazy. Also, in the manga, it very much seems like he's using both sides at the same time, because he's shooting flames, and if you look at the bottom of the panel, there seems to be ice shards. That's something he cannot do, at least currently in the manga. He can't use both sides at the same time, so I think that's kind of weird. It's possibly just like I'm looking at it the wrong way, but I will have to show you in the manga what it looks like, because it 100% looks like there's flames and ice.
once again, I think Horikoshi was still trying to figure out who Todoroki was and what his powers were and what were the limiters, I guess. So there's still a few things he was trying to figure out, I bet. But I do want to say, though, within this season, Todoroki has an amazing arc to him, you know? And
oh yeah,
we see so many great arcs in this season. I think it's honestly one of my favorites this season.
The Stain arc is super good. I love the Stain arc mostly because I love full cowling so much.
Yeah.
And I love how much it impacts the entirety of My Hero Academia's story. Because Stain really, like, he darkens the place. It's not exactly that dark. Like, you could just rely on All Might to save everything. But after this, like, you realize that these children are actually in real danger. If not for, like, I guess pure luck and at times teamwork, they would all be dead.
Yeah.
So I think it's awesome. But yeah, during the sports festival arc, 100%. Todoroki had an amazing amount of character development during that arc. I really, really loved it.
And I think this arc is setting up for future episodes way ahead of the manga even. I think Stain is going to be very important.
You think he's going to come back? He's going to somehow escape from Tartarus?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Do you think anyone else gets out or just Stain?
All for one.
You think he'll get out? That'd be kind of interesting. I for some reason don't see All for One getting out, mostly because I just think it would be too boring. Yeah. Like him escaping and becoming a real antagonist again versus Shigaraki, I think would just be too boring and kind of like boilerplate. It's similar to like the white Zetsu phenomena with Naruto, how like Madara Uchiha was such a massive villain and then it turns out not actually the villain, kind of a thing. And the series ends with like Naruto and Sasuke basically going up against like white Zetsu and all sorts of weird creatures that didn't exist before.
I think it'd be interesting to see Shigaraki turn on him and completely kill him, and he's the new face of All for One.
Oh, yeah. I could see Shigaraki killing All for One.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, that would be awesome. But moving forward, everybody's super surprised, and Stain's like, there's another one? So many interruptions in this day. And I love that Todoroki scolds Midoriya a little bit, and he says, Midoriya, learn to write more specific directions. I was almost too late. And there is an interstitial page that I have to talk about that I think is super depressing, if I'm being entirely honest. And it's called Uraraka's Economical Meal Plan, first edition, also the last edition.
Oh,
and it just says in gigantic letters, she doesn't eat.
What?
She's just drinking tea.
Jesus.
Yeah. It's weird. I don't like it. I mean, it does play into the fact that, like, Uraraka's family doesn't have a lot of money, so I feel like skipping meals isn't actually that crazy, but I just think that's kind of depressing.
It really is depressing. Wow.
Yeah. So, moving forward, so Stain is like, another one, this is pretty crazy. Everybody's super shocked at the fact that Todoroki shows up, and Todoroki kind of like talks about it. He says, it took me a few seconds to figure out that group text to everyone with nothing but your location, because sending out a totally meaningless message isn't your style. I realized it meant I'm in trouble, help. And he then freezes the ground and pulls Midoriya native, and he doesn't necessarily pull Ida toward him. Ida's actually sitting to the left of him, but he pulls native and Midoriya toward him, and then quickly like shoots his flames at Stain to keep him moving as like they come near him, so that Stain doesn't just attack them, and they all land behind him. And I love that Todoroki's like, but you're not killing these guys today, hero killer. And he's ready to defend them to the, like, basically to the last breath. And so cool. Deku, like, lets him know really quickly, Todoroki, don't let him draw blood. Pretty sure he paralyzes opponents by ingesting their blood. That's how he got us. And Todoroki's like, explains all the blades. I've just got to keep my distance. And immediately as he says that, gets struck by a knife. Stain is so cool. I'm sorry. Yeah. He's just dope as shit. And then he goes to like do a kick against Todoroki. He tries to kick him and slash him at the same time. And I love that it actually turns out that he threw his katana in the air at the exact same time, so that it was like a distraction. Tries to pull Todoroki in to lick his blood, but Todoroki uses his flames to then get Stain to back off. And
that was close though.
Yeah, Stain like shoots back, grabs his sword, and is ready to freaking fight, dude. He's crazy. Okay, this shit's crazy. And I love that Tenya's just sitting there being a bitch, and he's like, why, both of you, just stop it. I've inherited my brother's name. I have to do this. He's mine too. And then Todoroki cuts him off and says, inherited his name? That's weird. Cause the Ingenium I knew never made a face like that. Guess your family also has got a dark side to it. It's so fucked up. So as Todoroki continues to fight Stain, Midoriya realizes that he can move just a little bit, and this is where Stain kind of like gives him a hero lesson, Todoroki specifically, and says, obstructing your own vision when up against an opponent faster than yourself. Poor strategy indeed. And I love that Todoroki's like, you'd like to think so, trying to go after him with more power. And he tries to tries to shoot some fire at him, but two blades, not three, it's two blades, hit him in his left arm, just simultaneously, and Stain is coming down, trying to stab, it seems like he's trying to stab Todoroki for a second, but it turns out he's actually going for native, and at this moment, Deku shoots up, grabs Stain, and drags him across the buildings. And he's like, I can move again. And Todoroki says, oh, it must be a time limit. Native's like, nah, bruh, he was the last one. So if it was a time limit, he should actually still be paralyzed and everyone else should be cool. And this is when shit gets really weird. And I don't understand why it does. because so Midoriya moves out of the way, Todoroki shoots some ice, and it gives them a moment to kind of deduce this, where Midoriya says, so he tasted our blood and paralyzed us, but I was the first to break free somehow. I can think of 3 possible explanations. Either the effects is weaker the more people he uses it on, or it's about how much blood he gets, or its effectiveness depends on blood type. And Native says that he's type B, Ida says that he's type A, and then Hero Killer is just like, blood type. That's right. He just tells him how his quirk works.
Yeah.
Why would he just tell him?
I don't know.
Like, it almost kind of seems like he just wants to continue this fight. Like, he wants to make it harder on himself. I don't understand, because he's already said that this is going to be more difficult because both Todoroki and Deku are fighting. And he's like, yeah, I'm going to explain exactly how my quirk works.
I think the reason why is just because he's geeking out.
Maybe that's possible. I literally have no idea. I honestly think it was just dumb. Like, he's like, there's 3 things that it could be. And he's like, let me narrow it down for you. It's that one. And he's like, thanks, bro. Like, it's so fucking dumb. So we get a breakdown of Stain's quirk. It's called Blood Curdle. By licking his opponent's blood, he can incapacitate them for up to 8 minutes. It's most effective against B-type blood, then AB, then A, and finally O. Stain happens to be type B. This is kind of just like my own theory, but I somewhat believe the reason that he that he does the most like damage in a sense to type B is because he is type B. And his body's accustomed to controlling that specific type of blood. Whereas I think in a universe where he had AB type blood, he would actually basically like he would paralyze them the longest. That's just me like kind of assuming how his quirk works, but I do think it's very cool.
Yes.
And now we see Midoriya and Todoroki stand up and say, though it's not like knowing that really helps us, we need to hurry and get these 2 out of here. He's quick enough to react to both my fire and ice, so I'm not seeing an opening until the pros get here. Our best hope is to keep him at bay and keep dodging. And Midoriya says, you've got too much exposed blood, Todoroki. I'll draw his attention while you provide rear support. This is an interesting difference between the anime and the manga, because in the anime, Midoriya says Todoroki needs to stay in the rear because he's lost too much blood. But in the manga, he says he has too much exposed blood, basically saying that he's too easy to incapacitate with Stain's quirk, versus in the anime, he kind of makes it seem like he's just lost too much blood already and he doesn't need to risk like dying from blood loss from insanguination.
Weird.
So yeah, it's definitely odd. I like the way that the manga does that a lot more. So I love this moment where Todoroki and Deku are both like, the 2 of us will protect them. And this is when Stain's like, the 2 of them, 2 on 1, huh? At least you're not naive. And that was a weird way to say that, but he's basically like, in the anime, he says that it's actually going to make this a lot harder. And Todoroki breaks it down and says, ever since your brother had gotten taken down, I've had my eye on you because all that built up resentment was written all over your face. I know when I see it, specifically talking about his like involvement with resentment. And this is when they continue to fight. He breaks it down and basically says that like his judgment was actually clouded. He went and saw his mom and he was surprised on how fast she forgave him, and they started smiling and offering forgiveness, and now he's able to move on with his eyes unclouded. And without that and Midoriya's help, he never would have been able to ask Endeavor for help. And like he never would have seen what makes a true number 2 hero from Endeavor. And I love that he's like, it was so simple. Like, I don't understand how I didn't see it. All it took was 2 simple sentences. That was it. And this is kind of a similar thing with like Ida, where he thinks of it as like the save him first. He like Stain saying that. And then Midoriya and Todoroki both he's seeing that reflected in them, and this is his, like, it's a simple idea that one sentence can change everything. And he thinks back to how he said that he'd kill him, and Stain starts to get the leg up on everybody. He slashes Midoriya's leg. It turns out that he's even faster than before, and he's changed up his fighting style. And this is when Ida starts crying and says, "Stop it, I can't take it." And Todoroki says, "If you want to stop this, then stand up, because I've just got one thing to say to you." And he says, "Never forget who you want to become." And Ida thinks back to, like, the "I am Ingenium, the hero who's going to take you down" moment. This is when Stain just breaks through Todoroki's ice and is about to slash at him, and we see Ida's hand twitch. Yeah. And that is the end of the episode. This is an action-packed episode.
Oh, yeah.
This shit is crazy. I loved it. I love that, like, at the end of each one of the manga, Horikoshi keeps pointing out that, like, the anime is coming soon, which I believe the last volume of the manga is when he first put that in the end of it. So it's like, wow, in 2015 was when this anime initially aired. Like, that shit is crazy.
5 years
and he
ago.
was this far into the story.
Wow.
By the time it got animated. That's absurd. That's crazy. Because this shit's so good. But yeah, so that is the end of this specific episode. So let's move on to our next to last segment. Would you like to skip over Hero's Journey? Because you said your arms don't.
So yeah, I just want to say that don't push yourself too much straight away, you know? You want to make sure that you do it steadily rather than go all out, you know? So just word of warning there for you. But let's move on to our next segment. Vaughn.
Yep.
Who's your MVP?
Oh, damn. You didn't go all hard this time?
I can if you want.
Feeling it? I mean, you could do it again if you want. I don't know. I was pretty chill with the nice lax tone of it.
Who's your MVP?
So, my MVP for this episode, I think my MVP for this episode has to be Todoroki. Based on, like, yes, Ida would have died without Midoriya, but I feel like there are many more times when Todoroki keeps Stain from killing anybody than Midoriya necessarily does. And he deduces that text message in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Knowing who Midoriya is, where it takes Midoriya like 6 days to piece together this Hosu villain thing. So my MVP has to be Todoroki. I'm sorry that I keep harping on this like 6 days thing, like this whole internship thing, but it's really annoying the shit out of me.
I don't see it personally. I might be a Deku apologist, but
I don't know. I get it.
He's the one who actually helped him out. He's the one who actually figured out what was going on. Like, even though.
So is your MVP Deku?
It's boring. I know. I'm a Deku fan, right? So obviously I'm gonna pick Deku. But yeah, he got in there. He was able to figure it out. He sent the distress call, you know, to Todoroki in the first place, and he stayed. You know, even though it was incredibly dangerous. So
yeah, that's true. I mean, he could have just left native.
Yeah,
if he wanted
but he didn't
to.
Because he's a true hero, right? So
yeah,
hopefully.
he risked his own life to keep them both safe. Yeah, I personally chose Todoroki mostly because I think he provides the most utility to this fight.
He does, yeah.
Especially because he's just supporting Deku for a lot of this. So I think it's really awesome. But overall, I think everybody contributed a lot to this fight. And in the next episode, I think maybe my MVP might actually be Ida. But I'm excited to find out what it will end up being. But that is the end of this episode. Thanks everyone so much for listening. If you would like to chat with us outside the show, you can do so in a bunch of different ways. Of course, you can follow us at Go Beyond Pod, where we are currently Never mind. I'm not going to talk about that because it's actually ended by the time that this will go live, so it doesn't really matter. But we just did a giveaway for My Hero Academia Heroes Rising. Thanks everyone so much who entered and posted in the comments of it as part of the giveaway your favorite 1A class member. Just amazing. Thank you so much for doing so. I would recommend you follow us there for later giveaways to possibly include your thoughts on the show, to get notifications of when the episodes post, and so much more. You can follow me specifically, Vaughn, at Hydelegion. That's HYDELEGION, for all of my anime poo whatever kind of bullshit that I tweet about that week. Urinals. And please follow my Indie Games podcast, Indie Pod and Indie Games podcast, which is just everything about indie games and just a whole lot of dumb shit as well. Chris, where can they follow you?
Yeah, you can follow me at Penwell Writes on Twitter. You can read my written work at The Gamer and Tech Raptor. And I have an interview coming up with James Landino, who actually did an awesome You Say Run cover for a charity album this year. So there's that, and you can read that interview with James Landino on Game Grooves. Also, Vaughn, you were a guest on Active Quest, and it was a really fun episode. You were hilarious as always, and I really like recording that one, so please go listen to that too.
Awesome. Thanks everyone so much for listening to this episode. Make sure to tune in next week for episode number 30, where we conclude the Stain arc. I'm super excited for it. And that is the end of this specific episode. We will see you guys next week.
But before then, go beyond!